All right. Hope everybody's having a good week. Obviously, this is going to be the last time that I'll be with you guys before we get to training camp. So it's been a good 2 weeks. Really pleased with the work that we've got done with the players and the coaches. It's kind of mission accomplished. We really wanted to kind of lay a foundation, talk about you can't really skip any steps as far as the level of preparation, and felt like the two things we were able to get done was, again, go back over and detail out the fundamentals and techniques per position that are really important to us, why they're important, work those things out, work hard, improving at those, and really creating a foundation for the 8 weeks that now that the players will have to work out on their own. And then secondly, we're able to, just solidify things in our scheme. Like every team, we make adjustments and adapt every year in all three phases. And, we've made quite a few adjustments. We got a new quarterback in Carson this year. So you guys know how we roll. We play to the strengths of our personnel. So, have some different things we're doing there and had a good chance to get some of those things worked out. So feel really good about that. Really credit the players and the coaches for the quality of work, the level of focus for the last 2 weeks. Next week, obviously everyone will be gone after this week, but the rookies will be back. The rookies will be back for another week next week, so we'll still get to work with them a little bit. I'm sure there will be some vets around. I've told everybody that they're free and to get out of here, but there may be a few vets still around getting some work. But we still will have organized and scheduled things that we'll do with the rookies next week.
All right, we'll start with Zach Kiefer.
Frank, we've talked about this before. When a new quarterback comes to a team, they got to earn the respect of the locker room, and that's not something you can just do quickly. Phillip probably made it a little bit easier than it was last year just because he's Phillip. How has Carson handled that? And I know it's only been 2 weeks, but, a lot of guys will be vocal. Other guys will let their play do the talking. How has he handled that, and what kind of challenge is that from your perspective?
Yeah, Carson's done an excellent job, I think, in both ways, Zach, both vocally and just the way he works. He's not a shy guy, very outspoken, but just come in with good command of the offense, really good preparation so that whether we're in a meeting or stepping out there on the field, just the level of command that he has in the huddle, the guys can, I know, feel that. And then just physically, I think when he's out there in the field, and I talked to you guys about this before when we made the trade, you can just feel his presence physically on the field. He's a dominant physical specimen for the position, and you feel that when he's out there.
Mike Wells.
Hey, Frank, was it just easy picking up with Carson? Now that you have 2 weeks with him, was it just a smooth transition, like you guys had never left each other, even though it had been several years?
No, the transition back was very smooth, Mike. Like you said, we had a great relationship. We maintained that relationship, for the previous 3 years that I've been here. And now just kind of reconnecting with him has been very easy. I think when it comes to football, we think about the game very similarly. We have similar preferences in the passing game. We see things very, very much alike. So that makes it very easy. And then, obviously off the field, the friendship is, similar value system. So it's been good.
Oh, and then to follow up, when I asked Carson about this too, with you guys sharing that same Christian faith, how does that correlate with you guys' relationship on the football field and off of it?
Yeah, I mean, just like there's always connection points with every player. I want to get to know every player personally. Sometimes it's more about family or other interests that a person has. Just any good relationship when you're seeking to get to know the other person, or you're talking about what's important to them. And so, with Carson and I, we both have that faith aspect that's important to us. So, for instance, he came into my office this morning just to talk about something football related, but end up having a 10-minute conversation about our Christian faith and just some things about that. Those kind of things wasn't scheduled, just kind of impromptu. So I think that's pretty cool. I think we both enjoy that aspect of the friendship off the field.
Mike Chappell.
Frank, with Carson, this roster reflects Chris Ballard, and the team reflects you. Does this? It's sort of overblown. Maybe that the quarterback this has to be his team. If that's not the case, what does his presence need to be beyond just being another guy?
The leadership of the quarterback is critically important. As you guys know, we have a locker room full of really strong leaders. I mean, really strong leaders in this locker room. So, but in his own unique way, the quarterback has to be felt. And Carson has already done that. The 2 weeks here, the weeks of meetings that we had on Zoom, but especially these last 2 weeks, I know and I can feel that Carson has made his presence known on this team, and this team has embraced his leadership. So I think we're all looking forward to getting to training camp and getting out on the field and playing some preseason games and getting into the regular season. But he's done an excellent job. And anyone who's been around Carson knows that just as far as physically, the way this guy works, I mean, he just is a relentless physical worker. And I think everyone sees that.
Joel Erickson.
Frank, Carson was saying that one of the things that excites him about your offense is the way you guys spread the ball around. Why is that easier on a quarterback or more comfortable for a quarterback when you don't have to think about this guy has to get so many, this guy has to get so many, that kind of thing?
I just think it keeps the defenses guessing. We could easily say, hey, we're going to feature TY and try to get TY 100 catches, but we don't sugarcoat the fact that we're just going to spread it around. We take a lot of pride in that. And I just think there's something about when you have that belief in your players and that it's not just about one or two guys. It's not just about the quarterback. It's not just about Jonathan Taylor or T.Y. Hilton, but we're going to spread it around. And we want to spread it around because we believe we have that kind of talent. Keeps everybody fresh and strong and healthy, keeps defenses guessing. We'll move personnel groups around. We'll scheme things up in different ways with different guys in mind. So I just think it takes a little pressure off the quarterback.
Is it easier to be able to do that when you have depth of talent at the skill position? Absolutely.
And we feel like we have great depth. And I remember going into this year's draft, just Chris and I talking. And I basically said to Chris multiple times, like, I feel so good about our receiver room and our tight end room. I don't know. I just feel very strongly about our team and the players we had. I'm glad we had a draft and I'm glad we signed guys and so on and so forth. But I feel we do have the right roster, the right kind of players who are getting better. I think last year was a good year for us. But I'm anticipating that we're stronger and better this year.
Kevin Bowen.
You guys signed a kicker a couple weeks ago. Do you kind of view that similar to last year, like open competition between Chase and Hot Rod?
Not quite like last year, Kevin. I mean, it's open competition, but Hot Rod's, he's the incumbent. But everything has to be earned. Everything has to be earned. Hot Rod had a good season for us last year, so that's obviously taken into consideration. He'll have to earn it again this year, but it is open competition.
Sal Powell.
Hey, Frank. Sal Powell, Antonio. How you doing? Hey, Frank.
How you doing?
All right, doing well. Frank, there's so much talk about pressure being on Carson Wentz. What have you talked to him about to sort of take the pressure off of him and say, hey, we can help you get to where you want, and you can help us get to where we want?
Yeah, there's been a lot of that discussion, Sal. And it really has started around, just be the quarterback of this team, do your job, don't try to do too much. I know that's what commonly said, but we've really dug into that deep and what that means and how we're going to think. And a lot of that really begins with understanding and believing that the quality of team that you have around you in all phases, especially up front from the offensive line, and reminding Carson that, hey, we have really high standards around here as far as number of sacks that we take, as far as the percentage of sacks. And that's because we get the ball out quick in rhythm. Now, believe me, I understand that when you got a quarterback that can escape and and is mobile like Carson, we're going to take advantage of that, and he'll create some plays like that. But we're concentrating on running the football. We're concentrating on good play action game to keep defenses off balance. We're going to concentrate on a rhythm passing game to get it out quick. He's got a big arm. He's going to make big plays. I think those will come to us. We're not going to force them. He shouldn't force them. We should focus on, just the execution play by play, and don't try to do too much. That's really what the discussion has been about.
And what has his reaction been, Frank, to those coaching points, to those points of emphasis from you and your staff?
His attitude couldn't be better. I think after you come off a year like he did this year, him personally, the team, the Eagles, it was a hard year for him personally and a hard year for the team. So humble pie doesn't taste good, but it's good for you. It's good for you. And so it's a chance for him to acknowledge that I got to hit the reset button. I got a fresh start here, and his attitude couldn't be better. He's a great team player. He's coming in with the right attitude of wanting to do his part. I believe he's going to do that. I believe he's going to have an incredible year and be a great leader and a great player for this team.
Okay, we're going to go two more. Stephen Holder.
Hey, Frank, excuse me. Hey, regarding you opened up talking about, the workouts and the setup you guys have had. Obviously, a lot of this, I think, will be fluid in terms of what the setup is going forward. But do you as a coach have to kind of modify your expectations for the future for what shape these workouts will take? This was very different, I guess, is what I'm saying, even though you feel like you got a lot done. What are your expectations for the future, if at all, if you've even thought that far?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. You do have to adapt and modify, which we did this year. I mean, remember, Stephen, there was a point in time a month ago or whenever it was, like, I was wondering, are we going to get anything? Is this going to be like last year? And that's why when I sat down with the guys and we started talking about a plan, there was the one plan was, hey, we get 3 days, in June, and that's the extent of it. So we started investigating, what are the other alternatives, and how can we make this work where we can get a little bit more time than that? That would be good for all of us. What works? And so I'm anticipating that in the future, right? Some of it will be out of my hands, as far as it will be out of the coach's hands. There will be decisions made at a higher level from the league and the players' union that will govern some of what happens. But what I do feel very positive about is what the part of it that comes down to us and the players working together. I think we got the right mojo going right there. We both know that we got to work. We both know that the work is valuable and the quality of the work's got to be good. And I think that's what we've had these 2 weeks. Would have I liked to have another week or two? For sure, absolutely. But I'm very happy with the 2 weeks that we had, and we got a lot done.
Okay, last one, Jim Aiello.
Hey, Frank.
Hi, Jim.
You mentioned with Carson, trying to do too much and the humble pie that you just referenced. Do you feel like when you watched last year, that was maybe what went wrong, that like things were going south for Philly and he tried to be Superman a little too much? And I don't know, is that kind of what you saw?
Yeah, I think at times that happens to all of us. I mean, it happens to you as a play caller, when sometimes things aren't going right and you try to manufacture something and do too much rather than just say, hey, let's make first downs, let the big play happen. So I've been around a lot of quarterbacks. It's very, very common when you're struggling, when your team is struggling, to try to manufacture something that isn't there. And the problem is that sometimes you can do that. But what is the cost of that? And so there's a fine balance there. We don't want to take that card away from Carson. I mean, he's got unique physical abilities, and we want to accentuate and we want to give him the freedom to use those to create big plays for us. But, the trick of it all, where it all comes together is what's the right balance of that. And that's just the give and take that we have to talk about and constantly challenge really on a weekly basis. That conversation will be had.
That's not like an ego thing, right? That's just, hey, the team's going bad, and I think I have the ability to help turn things around, right? I mean, not
yeah.
egotistical, I guess. Yeah.
No, I agree 100% with that statement, Jim. I mean, most of the time it's the player wanting to do good for his team. This isn't about, hey, let me make a superstar play that everybody can say, oh, wow, here's a great player. The team's struggling, but this guy sure is giving him a chance. I know Carson well enough to know he's not a stat guy. He's a team guy. And the only stat that really matters is winning as a team. And so whatever efforts has made or will make on the field, I know that's the driving force behind it.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.